The reason that I'm sitting here tonight, Ashvir, and putting myself foursquare behind your campaign is that I've got to know you hopefully well over the last few years as we've worked together, and you gave everything to my mayoralty, and thank you, I should say that on the record. But what I learned was that the mayor's job was about place before party, as I always said, place first, the West Midlands. And what I see in your decision is that is also place first. You didn't want to be an MP for any random place. You wanted to represent the place you grew up in, you feel passionately about, and you feel actually needs a real champion in Westminster. And so I have huge respect for someone who wants to represent his hometown seat. That's why I wish you all good fortune.
Hi, I'm Ashvir Sangha, and I'm standing to be the new Member of Parliament for Birmingham, Edgbaston. Before I started this campaign, I spent the last 2 years working closely as an advisor to Andy Street, who was Mayor here in the West Midlands for the last 7 years. I learnt a great deal from Andy. Independent-minded, proactive and locally focused. And I'm looking forward to speaking with him today to talk about my campaign, to hear about what he's been up to, and to talk together about the approach that we share. So Andy, obviously we had that nail-biter mayor election in early May, 1,500 votes across such a huge area, widely covered locally and nationally. How are you feeling a few weeks on from that? What have you been up to?
Well, Ash, it's great to be here with you. And the honest answer to how I'm feeling is I'm still feeling pretty hacked off by it, to be honest, pretty gutted. Because I genuinely thought we could win and buck the national trend maybe and carry on all the good work that we were doing. So you don't get over something like that if you've dedicated your life to it. People say move on. And of course you will in time. But you don't just suddenly just turn the page in a few days. This will take time to work through.
Yeah. And the media beast being relentless as it is, Andy, barely had the results been read out when the speculation began on, what will Andy do next?
Yep.
Will he run for Parliament? Will he become Chief Executive of Birmingham City Council? Will he go back into business? There's been endless speculation about.
To the moon, yeah.
Yeah, there's endless speculation about what you might do next,
Yeah.
and. Are you going to give us any clues today?
Well, we've got one big clue. It's more than a clue, one fact. I mean, I have spent a lot of the last week, because we're recording this exactly a week after when the Prime Minister called the general election, I spent a lot of the last week repelling all those people who said, come on, Andy, you must stand for Parliament. There's a plum seat in Solihull. So many people from, people who led this country to ex-cabinet ministers telling me that I should do this. But no, I've decided not, actually. It's not me. I mean, there's a really, for me, interesting point. The mayoral job was the political job I wanted to do. It was an executive job. It was about getting stuff done, leading from the front. MP job, which you're going for, so important to represent your constituents here and to form that opinion in a government, hopefully, in London. But that is not what I wanted to do. So, of course, I've now turned my back on that. And again, lots of people have said very sweet things when I decided to, but I know that I'm right in not doing it. Others will step forward to do that very well.
Very, very sad personally that you're not, but I can completely understand where you're coming from, especially having worked with you so closely over the last couple of years and seen how much passion and energy you brought to that mayoral role. Any clues about what you might do next then, or you're still thinking? Because you would have seen the speculation. Everyone from Keir Starmer to journalists locally and nationally talking about what.
I've seen the speculation, and if I'm very honest, Ash, I just had to concentrate on one thing, which was this opportunity to potentially be an MP. Because I thought when I lost, I'm going to take months now, have a bit of summer, think about what opportunities there were. Then suddenly the general election comes unexpectedly, so you have to decide one thing on its own. So now I am going to take time over the summer to decide exactly what I want to do. But I've still got the bug, perhaps the clue, is I have still got this bug of public service. I really actually enjoyed the public policy piece, trying to get stuff done in the interests of citizens. I genuinely enjoyed that, and that's not out of me yet.
And how close did you come to going for that Solihull MP job, putting yourself putting yourself forward for that? How close did you come to going for it?
It was very alluring because, of course, it's the bird in the hand. It was there potentially. I've got to win the selection, of course. Nothing was guaranteed. There'll be other brilliant candidates coming forward, but you've got to have confidence in yourself over that, as you demonstrated. Close, because it was so alluring, so sort of immediate. But when I really, really thought about what stimulated me, I thought about my principles, what I was not prepared to compromise on. Very important to me how I did the mayoral job. I did it my way, as I said to everybody, and I was not prepared to compromise. So when I was really forced to a tough decision, the decision was clear.
Understood. And so now we genuinely will have a summer of speculation then of what Andy Street does next.
Well, we maybe have a summer of general election where we think about what Ashvir Sangha is doing next, maybe.
So on that summer general election, so you have, for the reasons you set out, decided that MP is not the path you want to follow. I, as you know, am running to be the new MP for Birmingham Edgbaston. I grew up here. I went to school here. I live here. It's my hometown seat. And it's the only place that I would want to serve as MP for. What are your thoughts and reflections on that decision?
So the reason that I'm sitting here tonight, Ashvir, and putting myself foursquare behind your campaign is that I've got to know you hopefully well over the last few years as we've worked together, and you gave everything to my mayoralty, and thank you, I should say that on the record. But what I learned was that the mayor's job was about place before party, as I always said, place first, the West Midlands. And what I see in your decision is that is also place first. You didn't want to be an MP for any random place. You wanted to represent the place you grew up in, you feel passionately about, and you feel actually needs a real champion in Westminster. And so I have huge respect for someone who wants to represent his hometown seat. That's why I wish you all good fortune.
Thank you very much, Andy. And I mean, we've spoken about this off camera, but my approach is very much about, inspired by, my experience working with you in the mayor's office and seeing what you did day in, day out. And I want to be an independent-minded, locally focused MP, and I want to be proactive and bring that energy that you brought to the mayoral role to being the MP for my hometown. And I've always felt that, what do you really have as an MP? You have a voice and you have a platform, and I think there's a lot of scope to use that voice and platform in a creative, imaginative, dynamic way that maybe MPs don't always do that effectively currently. Have you got any thoughts on that kind of approach that I want to bring to the role of being an MP in this area?
Well, it's very hard for me to make an observation about being an MP because I haven't done it, so that would probably be a little presumptive on my part. But what I think I can make an observation on from my time as the mayor, which I hope translates into your thinking about this job, what I found was if you put place first, if you were not overtly partisan, if you tried to reach across the divide sometime, work together, certainly work with business and charities and faith groups, everybody else, then actually you were supported in ways you might not have expected because there was a respect for the fact that you were trying to deliver for the place. And I do think in the approach in which you outlined how you want to be MP for Edgbaston, place first, always putting the interests of residents of Edgbaston first, I think you would be surprised if you're successful in bringing that about, the support from across the community that you would be able to garner.
No, I think that's very much at the centre of how I want to approach this role. And we've talked about that very close mayoral election. You did exceptionally well, I'm told, in Edgbaston.
So I'm told. I don't know. Nobody knows. There
So
was one
nobody
number
knows
for all of Birmingham, so we don't know.
But the rumour is that this is a place that it's a place that is very fond of your approach, and if there are people in Edgbaston, whether it's in Harborne, Quinton, Edgbaston, North Edgbaston, Bartley Green, who maybe are not natural Team Blue voters nationally, but they voted for you, what would be your message to them vis-a-vis me?
Interesting question. So, obviously I lost the election by a tiny amount, 1,500 in 2 million by potential voters, 600 and something turned out. 600,000, I should say, turned out. So it was a tiny, tiny number at a time where the Conservative brand across the country was weak. So it is self-evident that we attracted people who were perhaps not, to use your words, Team Blue voters. That must be the case. And I think I find myself thinking, why was that? One, it was delivery. We got on and got stuff done, whether it be the inward investment we brought in, the new training opportunities, the transport investment, all sorts of things. And I think residents of Edgbaston constituency noted that was being done in a pretty collaborative way, actually. So I think my advice and lesson for anybody, and it's more difficult in a parliamentary role, I accept that, it's more difficult. The mayor's role was an individual role, is definitely to concentrate on what you say you will do for your place. Yeah, that delivery, that championing actually for your place. The lesson of my result is that voters do note if you actually do that.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you for what you did as mayor, and thank you for what I have no doubt you will continue to do in public life. And I've been incredibly inspired by you. I've thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to work with you in the mayor's office over the last 2 years, and I hope to bring that spirit of Andy Streetism to this role of MP.
Well, that would be, in a strange sense, a lovely legacy if that happened, actually. But I would just say one other thing, Ash, for the people who are watching this, and that's just to put on record my thanks to you for how you played your role in the mayor's office, because you were utterly dedicated to our way of doing it. And I don't know if others will know this, but Ash was the sort of front man with all of the media world, which is so important in politics because you have to tell the story. Now, what you're doing if you don't tell the story. And so that perception of how we went about things, which I hope was real, there was no lack of genuine nature in it, you helped propagate and create that. And I know you believed in it yourself. So thank you for your partnership in that.